Time Mancher's perspective. Mr. Taylor stands in front of us, dressed in his skin-tight uniform, his back straight, his bearded face stern and serious, and with his long wavy red hair bound into a tight bun at the back of his head. Beside him, atop a 1.5-meter pedestal, rests a frighteningly enormous skull. The thick horns somewhat resemble those of a steppe bison. The lower face, its nostrils pointing forward at the top of a blunt snout, is more feline-looking, but with a little bit of gorilla mixed in. The arrangement of eyes on the upper face is far more arachnoid than the relatively more humanoid arrangement on the Vrackhand. The auxiliary eye is much larger, both absolutely as well as relative to the much larger main eyes, and less unidirectional. "Thank you for coming, everyone," he begins coolly. "At around midday yesterday, the nearby twig village known as Durf was attacked by what, at first, we were misled into thinking was a Vrackhand. Thankfully, that misunderstanding was cleared up without a war breaking out about it. The true culprit has been positively identified as one of these." He indicates the skull. "Known as Korhash, or Cursed Ones by the Vrackhand, who have an entire tower of Babylesque legend about them, and who agreed to lend us this skull from their royal trophy collection. And Wit Tunlok, or Monsters That Aren't People by the Twig. Please forgive my pronunciation, languages have never been a specialty. This animal is believed by Dr. Lamarck and Schinch to be an evolutionary cousin to the Vrackhand. Now, we ain't here as folklorists, theologists, anatomists, or geneticists, so we can leave worrying about the legends and the biology to our specialists in those areas. What we're here to do is find this thing and kill it." "What?" comes an outraged voice. Mr. Kelly stands from his chair among the dozen or so, arranged directly in front of the stage, looking furious. "I said we're gonna hunt this thing down and kill it, Steve," says Mr. Taylor, his green eyes fixed on the much smaller man. "Like fuck we are," declares the new Australian, stepping up onto the stage and closing about 35 centimeters of the 60-centimeter height difference by putting himself on level ground with the man he's challenging. Taylor takes a deep breath and starts. "Steve, I understand that your religion—" "This has got nothing to do with me being an Irwinist," asserts the khaki-clad man. "That thing sounds like it could very likely be one of, if not the, last of its kind. You want us to kill it just for doing what animals do? Just for doing what it needs to live?" "No, Steve," asserts Taylor stonily. "I think we need to kill it because it's already showed itself to not have any fear of at least the twig. I'm an animal lover as well, Steve. I've never eaten meat that didn't come out of a lab, except in survival situations. But my job and the job of most of the people here," he gestures to the seats, "isn't worrying about animal safety. It's to worry about people's safety. That thing killed and ate at least 7 twig yesterday. 20 more are injured, and 9 unaccounted for. Likely also dead. What do you want us to do? Nothing?" "Relocation!" shouts the blue-eyed man. "Tag it, bag it, move it back to those mountains where the Queen says she got this one. That's the humane thing to do." "It's already proved it won't stay there. If that's even where it came from, though, ain't it? What if next time it comes down, it don't come here? What if it does and we ain't here to stop it? You're happy to have those deaths on your conscience?" asks the redhead. "About as happy as I'd be to help make a species extinct." "If this one really is the last, they need to be cloned back in any event. Wouldn't it be better to have them not be around for the moment, and then they could be reintroduced when the local tech's advanced enough that they ain't a problem anymore?" Disgustedly, Kelly observes, "Typical fucking Earth attitude." Confused, Taylor asks, "Fuck's that supposed to mean?" "Means you don't take any personal responsibility as a steward of the natural world. You grew up surrounded by dodos, mammoths, aurochs, Tasmanian tigers, giant sloths and woolly rhinos. And so, you think, yeah, don't need to worry. If it's a problem, the government will fix it. Just so long as they can find some DNA, they can bring anything back." I mean, can't they though? Like, I take your point. A kingdom that's once been destroyed can never come again into being, nor can the dead ever be brought back to life and all that, but from the sounds of it, the kingdom's already mostly destroyed. These things have obviously been a massive liability to Twig and Fratcam for so long that they forced them to push them to the edge of extinction. If the last Roman was running around stabbing people and the only way to stop him was to kill him, I'd definitely do it. People who ain't had a choice about whether to rely on nature to live before don't have that attitude. We know that every animal is necessary to its ecosystem. We don't think, just get rid of it, it's inconvenient. Cocking an eyebrow, Taylor answers, so, I suppose, if an animal like this attacked your camp when you was relying on nature to live, you'd have gone, oh well, circle of life, as it tore your loved ones apart, would you? Course not. We'd not have been attacked in the first place. Taylor's second eyebrow joins his first. Halfway up his forehead, as he furiously asks, oh, so it's the Twigs' fault? They weren't careful enough? That what you saying, you pretentious twat? Obviously not, you sanctimonious pommy wanker! Snarls back the new Australian, not sounding at all like he meant wanker in any way, but as an insult on this occasion. I'm saying... Gentlemen, interrupts Twiller's voice, disembodied as her droid is not here. I can see tempers are flaring. Why don't we all take a step back, a deep breath, and count to 10 before the ambient testosterone reaches hazardous levels in here? We're all friends, right? Taylor turns his eyes down and does indeed take a deep breath. Yeah, Twiller's right. I'm sorry for getting upset with you, Steve. Kelly's face softens as he chuckles. Yeah, same here, you wanker. Making the words sound much friendlier this time. We do still need to figure this out, though. I ain't happy with a catch and release, and you ain't happy with a hunt and kill. I guess the only option is a catch and detain? Even if I ain't happy with the prospect of bringing an unfriendly 1.5-ton bulletproof hypercarnivore anywhere near folk on the compound or ship, well, they'd definitely die if it got loose for whatever reason. We could throw it in stasis, gas it in its lair, airlift it back here, throw it in a pod, build a second layer of containment around it in case the stasis field drops out, then, when we leave, move it to one of the cells on the ship and hand it off to conservationists when we get somewhere where that's feasible, suggests Kelly. Taylor sighs. Sure, but I'm warning you now, if that thing comes at us, I ain't gonna hesitate. Kelly nods. Fair dinkum, mate. And goes to retake his seat. Taylor turns back to the rest of us and says, right, now that's sorted, I'll move on to explaining the rest. We have been invited into Dev Village to begin tracking. We are the first ever non-Twig known to have been given the honour, but bear in mind we ain't going to be seen at its best. From what I hear, the place looks like a bomb site right now. Though Jay's told me to warn you that the Twig take almost as dim a view of those that break things as they do of those that hoard things. So everyone is going to watch where their feet go, and not lean on anything while we're there. We don't want to sour their gratitude by accidentally knocking down one of their houses. Samus? He points to the large blonde woman whose face twists into a grimace. Counter your arachnophobia. You're staying here. Oh, thank fuck, she sighs, relieved. If we go dark, then you're assuming this thing is too dangerous to take and focusing on beefing up countermeasures here until the ship's back in action. You are not coming to avenge us. You're not throwing your fist to the heavens and shouting, "It should have been me!" Once you get back to Citadel, you are making clear to all future missions just what a threat these things are. No complaints here, she answers. Everyone else is coming along just for the extra numbers. Tamancha? He points to me. You got the most important job.